Okay, everyone. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeff Yang and I love airplanes, as you guys might be able to tell. Today we're going to go over all of my Dynam airplanes, every single one that I have, every one that I have experience with. I'm going to give you guys a quick tutorial on each one, as far as like a quick review, how I like it, what I don't like about the things. So we'll try and keep these maybe 2-3 minutes per airplane, and here we go. Okay guys, first up we have Dusty Crop Hopper. It's not the name of it, but it's the name of the airplane that they gave to this airplane in the movie Planes. As you can see, it is a C-188, stands for Cessna 188. It is a crop duster, and it is really scale. It's got a lot of scale features to it, including the little ribs that are on the ailerons, the little vents that are on the side of the motor for the exhaust. I really like this airplane. This is the first airplane that ever got me interested in anything Dynam. I really wanted this airplane. I had been looking at it for quite a long time. You can fly it around with full flaps, very slow, very close to the ground. And because of the double dihedral of the wings, you can kind of set it on one of the wings and do some low, slow turns with this airplane. Let me give you 3 things that I really like about it. Number 1 is the scale detail. Number 2 is the way that it flies. And number 3, let's see, I really like the paint on this thing. So pretty much everything about this airplane I like. There's a couple modifications that I did to this airplane. Number 1, I put different wheels on it. The original stock wheels, the hub started wearing out and they actually got a little loose, so I put these Dubro. They're 2.75 inches in diameter and they're pretty fat. I also shortened the landing gear by about a full inch. They were a little bit tall and they were a little bit behind the wings here. I also put a little piece of wood behind here to tilt the landing gear forward a little bit, so it would have less of a tendency of tipping over onto the nose on the landings. And really, since I've done that, I've never tipped it over on its nose, maybe once or twice. So if I were to have any complaint about this airplane, it would probably be the tail wheel, which is the steerable tail wheel in the back. It's got these little springs on it. The little U-shaped hub tends to crack. I cracked it a few times, I repaired it a few times, but honestly you could probably fly this airplane without the tail wheel. You're just having like a little dragging, you could actually just take the wheel off of there and it would be just fine. But if I were to nitpick and have any type of complaint about this airplane, it'd probably be the tail wheel. This is the DC-3 from Dynam. It is also called a Skytrain, a couple different names. This is one of those airplanes that kind of challenged the way that I fly airplanes, because it flies very scale. You can't get it too slow in the corners, you can't tip the wings over too much, otherwise you can crash it, which I did on my maiden flight. But since then, I've really learned how to fly this airplane, and it's really taught me a lot about how to fly scale airplanes. The 3 things I like about it: it looks great in the air. And despite the tip stall tendency, I love the way that it flies. Number 3, I love the robust landing gear. Even though it doesn't retract, it makes it simpler and definitely less prone to damage. If I were to choose 3 different things that I don't like about this airplane, out of the box, it actually had a binding tail wheel here, and the servo just was not enough to operate the rudder and the tail wheel at the same time, so I replaced the servo with a large Traxxas steering servo from Traxxas, from one of my buggies. I had an extra one. The other thing, I really didn't like the way the wings glued together, even though I got them together just fine. I would have liked it to be maybe a little bit more straightforward. I'm just nitpicking right now, but if I were to choose a 3rd thing, what's the 3rd thing that I don't like about this airplane? Okay, sometimes there's only 2 things, but I really love the way this looks in the air. I love the way that it lands, even though it doesn't have any flaps, but it's real simple and it just flies great. All right, everyone, that brings us to the FW190 Focke-Wulf. This is a really pretty airplane. 3 things that I like about this airplane. The scale looks, again, very fantastic. All the plastic detail that's on here, really nice. Now, I took this airplane and I put Minwax over the whole thing, so it gives it a nice shiny sheen to it. Second thing is, it just flies really good. Third thing is that it goes together very easily, so very simple kit to put together. And on the flip side, the things that I don't like about it, everyone knows that the FW190 has very long retracts. Even though it wasn't Dynam's fault, I broke one of the landing gear just bending it backwards, because they tend to be really long. Oh, the power system. It runs off of 4S, and even though it's 4S and it's got a pretty aggressive looking prop, it didn't seem very fast. I like my warbirds to be quite fast and quick and nimble. This one, even on 4S, was a little bit lethargic. All right, guys, you can see what's coming into shot. The Gloucester Meteor. This is a twin 70mm EDF airplane. It's something to behold. It's got short wings and a long fuselage, which is really, really interesting. So this airplane, I haven't flown it since its maiden because I want to upgrade the motors from 4S type of motors to 6S type of motors. Even though I flew the maiden on 6S, I just looked at the ESCs and I saw that they were rated for 6S, and I just took it easy on the throttle when I was on my maiden. But I'm going to do some modifications to this airplane. Number one, to the wing tips. They tend to be a little bit flimsy. I'm going to basically implant another spar in through here that goes all the way into the wing. It's going to go in front of the EDF there, but it shouldn't take away from the performance at all, I don't think. Really great scale airplane. I mean, I really love this airplane. Okay, so let's go over the positives of this airplane. Great flying airplane. It's just very scale. It flies well, it glides well, it's got flaps, everything. I love the way this thing flies. The second thing I like about this airplane is the robust landing gear. It's got real short landing gear, which is just kind of scale to this airplane. I really like that it's short, it tends to be very robust, and I haven't had any problems with them. Third thing I like about this airplane, it's just completely unique. You never see anything like this out at the field. Those three things make it a real big positive in my book. Now, just to let you know, Dynam has come out with a version 2 of this airplane since I've had this one, which is already set up from the factory with a 6S setup. So you guys can look forward to that. I don't know if it's out yet or not, but I can surely put an annotation up here somewhere. Okay, so the things I don't like about this airplane, number one is the decals, which were water transferred. They didn't stick very well to the fuselage. You can see it's kind of peeling off here. I've had the flag on the other side here. This kind of came off. I have it over there. But the decals just weren't up to Dynam's normal quality. I usually just like standard stickers, which they should have done here. The second thing is the wingtips. They really need to work on how they are attached because it is very flimsy, and in flight you can actually see them kind of moving around. So like I said, I'm going to be doing some modifications for that. Okay, so other than those two things, I don't think there's anything else to mention. Just to mention one more thing about the positives of this Gloucester Meteor is that it is extremely easy to put together. So, and I was able also to get this in my car without removing any of the wings or anything like that. So that's always a plus for me because I have not the biggest car. So do I recommend this airplane? I do recommend it. It's a very unique airplane that will be in your hangar of airplanes that'll very much stand out. Well, all right, so this is the P-51D Mustang from Dynam. This is the one that I haven't completed yet. I actually have two of these. Go figure. So this one, I still need to put the rest of it together, but I can kind of talk about this one. I have the blue and red one at home, so I just don't have it here with me. So this is the one and only Dynam airplane that I wasn't really crazy about. I had problems with the nose cone braking. My maiden flight was really tail heavy, so I ended up just having a really hard time flying it. And the ground handling is not the greatest. It always wants to tip over onto its nose and cut the grass. So those are kind of the things I was kind of like, I'm not really sure about this airplane. But if you will see from my videos, just recently, I took my P-51D out again. I added more weight to the nose, and all of a sudden, all the handling problems just kind of went away. It still tips over on the grass, but if you have a runway, you're going to have no problems taking this one off. And I changed my opinion about this airplane. I actually like the way it flies now. It flies like a decent P-51. Now I do want to, in the future, try out 4S on this. I've been flying it on 3S. There's another little niggle about this airplane that I don't like. So there is a compartment in the front here which houses the battery, and you can get the battery all the way up front and everything, but you do have to reach that by going into the very back. There's basically a hole right here that you have to pass the battery into, and there's really no way of securing the battery securely. You could use Velcro, but then there's that little tunnel. You can get the battery stuck. And if you don't put anything in there, if you're going up, nose up, your battery could potentially slide backwards, which would always be really bad. So I think in the future I might actually cut a hatch here so I could just place the battery where I want it to be placed. Some little rough edges with this one, but I think it's actually got some nice potential. The landing gear has been pretty rock solid. This is my so-so airplane, although I've gotten to love it more since my last flight. All right, guys, so that is not the end. I'm going to show you a video from my house, which is of the Dynam Pitts Python, which I really, really like. So take it away, Jeff. Okay, guys, well, now it's time to talk about the Pitts Python from Dynam. This is a really great model. It's a little 3D biplane, not really that little, but it's very, very well built. So some of the three things that I like about this airplane, number one is built for 4S, so it's 4S ready. It's nice and powerful. It's extremely well built. And the third thing is I love the paint scheme on there. It's really nice to see in the air. Handles fantastically. I'll add a fourth thing that I really like about this airplane. It really has stout landing gear. It really holds up very, very well, the way it's built and everything. Three things that I maybe don't like about it. When it's always hard sometimes when you like a model so much to find something that you really don't like about it. The rudder and the elevator are pretty thin. I think they could make it just even an 1/8 of an inch thicker, and it'll help. You can see this has a little bit of a bow to it, but actually that doesn't affect the flying at all, not that I've noticed. So you can see the elevator is a little bit thin as well, not a huge deal. Here's the Pitts Python from Dynam, and fantastic airplane. A lot of you guys love this, as I know you guys do. All right, guys, that is it for this video. Tell me which Dynam airplane of the ones I have here did you like the best, or which one do you have, and which one do you like to fly? I like them all. There's P-51, I've always loved them. That's the one standout here that I'm not super crazy about, but I tell you, out of all the airplanes I have, you know, you're gonna have ones that are gonna perform better and some that you like more than others, but my two favorite out of this group is probably gonna be the C-188, the Dusty Crop Hopper, and also the DC-3 or the Skytrain, or C-47, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully I gave you some insight into maybe which airplane that you like. I will leave a link in the description down below to Dynam, and if you order from Dynam through my link, you help out my channel. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you on the next one.